Tokyo, and that's one of the things I talk about in the book.
Actually, I guess we should explain who you are. Hello,
Okay.
everybody.
Hey, everybody, hi.
You know me, and you probably don't know him yet. This is David Chester. We've known each other for known each other for a while.
Maybe a year or so, or 2 years, maybe. Yeah,
maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
He organized an awesome workshop for writers here in Tokyo.
That was a great experience, yeah. I brought a famous TV writer from Los Angeles to Tokyo and to try to light some fires under some of the creative talents here, so.
Yeah, Tokyo is a magnet for people who talk about doing something great. It's a matter of who was like, yeah, I'm working on a book.
Yeah.
You know?
But some of those people actually do things.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I know. That's true. No, it's actually, and it's like workshops, stuff like that, and those types of events that get people kind of like,
yeah,
because it is easy to get distracted.
It's a candy store here. That's why I say in the book you should, of course, come here, but have goals in mind. Otherwise, you're just gonna
you'll wake up 20 years later,
right?
And you're like, what the hell just
exactly?
happened?
Yeah, that's right. You said it.
I guess first off, a little bit of what would you call it? Validation. Like you're been here a long time.
I've been here for 16 years. Yeah.
16 years.
Yeah.
I think anything over 10 is pretty epic. Once you get over that 10 mark.
Yeah. Well,
8. So like you've been here twice as long as I have.
I mean, almost every foreigner I've met, they come here. I came here on a 3-month visa.
Yeah.
And then thought, that would be the end of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And 16 years later.
Here you are.
Yeah. Well, it became a challenge. It was like, well, I'm seeing all these other people doing all these great things, and I thought, well, I want to do that. And then just one thing led to another. So, and here we are having a blast.
Yeah, the 16 years was fast. I mean, for me, the 18 years, it was a blink. Like,
you mean 8?
8 years, yeah, 8 years. 8 years. It was a blink. That's why, like, what you said about, like, having goals is, like, really hits me.
Set them. Yeah.
I'm going to do that one of these days.
Uh-huh.
It's like another 8 years.
Right.
So another 8 years. And also to introduce you guys, where are you guys in the world right now? What time is it taking? What time is it? Where are you guys all?
Yeah, where are people? Austin, Texas. Hey, Austin.
Florida, Washington.
Wow.
Minnesota. 8 p.m. in Colorado.
Oh, San Diego. Hey, San Diego, California. I'm from California.
Melbourne, Australia.
Melbourne. Florida. Wow. Oh. Snowed in. Someone is snowed in. Oh, snowed in Columbus.
Yeah, actually, I heard the whole East Coast is getting pounded.
Oh, wow. Unbelievably, it's
gorgeous today.
It's gorgeous today. It's like a bright spring day. It's right?
This is one of the nicest days we have in months.
It is.
Global warming.
Everyone's getting colder than normal. Yeah.
All right. Well, there's a question I've been dying to ask.
Sure. Go ahead.
Because I get this question all the time.
Okay.
And I'm never able to really answer it.
Okay.
I don't know how to answer it.
Okay.
You've been answering it for 8 more years than I have.
Okay.
What do you say when people say, so what do you do?
That is a good question, and you should.
I have no idea what to say sometimes.
Well,
we're both freelancers, and your book is about freelancing.
Right.
Okay. How do you explain
it? Basically, at this point, a quick answer would be I'm a freelance writer and musician. Okay. And then that kind of like, at least it narrows it to 2 fields as opposed to like trying to cover the waterfront.
I'm a freelance writer and comedian.
Yeah, that's right. That sounds good.
Yeah. It kind of covers everything generally, but it's specific enough.
Yeah. Right, yeah. And then it gives people, talking points.
Exactly. Well, what specifically have you done? And is everything you've been doing in that field, or have you done stuff outside that field?
I've done everything. Short of selling myself on a street corner, I've done everything in Tokyo. Yeah. I came here as a musician and a songwriter. And that kind of branched out into a lot of other things. And yes, I did teach English. I taught English for a long time. I didn't come here to do that, but opportunities came up. But by doing that kind of led to a lot of other things. It led to voiceovers. It led to writing for newspapers and magazines, editing, a lot of other things to do with words. And that's great because that's what ultimately led me to start writing screenplays and the book.
I also was a teacher, and it's true. It's like even guys like ourselves who are now not working in teaching, we always say it with a somewhat confessional attitude.
Right.
You know, like that it's this dirty secret in your past.
Well, you know,
but it shouldn't be really. I mean, both my parents are teachers. I respect a profession itself, but for some reason it does. It's sort of like it's a jumping point rather.
It's
for many people.
Yes, it's a jumping point unless that's something you really want to do. I talk about in the book, you know, if you really want to teach English, that's great. But if you don't, if you come to Tokyo, I mean, you don't have to teach English. But a lot of people just do that. And one of the reasons I wrote the book is that people get into a trap. And they think, well, that's my work and that's what I do, but that's not really who they are. And so I really hoped to open some doors by writing this book and letting people know what other opportunities are available to them in this wild and crazy town.
Someone just asked a question about how hard it was to start working in Tokyo.
Okay, all right.
Like for me, the English teaching job was essentially for the visa. That was necessary for me to get in country and get working legally.
The what was necessary?
A visa sponsored by an English company.
Oh yeah, okay.
So for me, that was kind of the key.
Okay, all right. So I noticed that someone's saying here you have to have a bachelor's, but it's not true because I don't have one. And but if you don't have a bachelor's, you need to have work experience. And what they said to me at the time was you need to have 10 years working experience, and I had to really show that. And of course I had to have a visa sponsor. It wasn't from an English school, it was a small import-export company. But I got in, and they weren't sure whether they were going to let me in, but I guess they liked me, so they let me in.
My current visa is a self-sponsored visa.
Oh, is that right?
It technically doesn't exist.
Right.
You know, like
you did it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something to be proud of. Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of ambiguity within the Japanese system because every application is done one by one. It's not a set rule or system.
Yeah.
They have guidelines they generally follow.
Well.
It is, you know.
It's case by case. That's one of the phrases you'll hear if you come here. It's definitely case by case. Yeah. I think my culinary degree is letting me down here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a question I get a lot.
Yeah.
What are other opportunities out there other than teaching English in Japan?
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
But actually, first, let's go back to your experience. Like, so what other things? Give me some highlights of what you've done.
Okay. I've done at least 10 commercials in Japan, and 10 commercials. I mean TV commercials, and they've been great paying jobs, unique experiences. In some of the commercials, it was just me and one other Japanese actor, and in the other commercials, I was with a group of foreigners and Japanese actors. Those, you'll hear about acting in Japan jobs. Some of them are great. Those are things people don't necessarily think of as job opportunities, but they can be exciting.
I've done two.
Have you?
They kind of came out of nowhere.
Right.
You know.
Well, you got to register with agencies, let people know you're alive. You know, it's a little bit different. There's that. I've done a lot of voiceover work. Never thought I would do that. I did study in Los Angeles so that I'd have some awareness, but I never thought I was going to apply it. When I came here, I heard all these other people doing it, and I thought, well, okay, I can do it.
Yeah.
You know, and I made my demo and circulated it and got work. That can be very lucrative.
Do you think the market's different now than it was then? If you're circulating a demo now compared to 16 years ago, is it a different market?
It's different because there's a lot more. There are a lot more foreigners in Tokyo now.
Yeah.
And also, whereas when I first came here, the focus was strictly on American English, that has broadened. And sure, now there'll be calls for Australian, British, English, and also they want Chinese as well.
I've heard a lot of requests for specific accents.
Yeah, right, for specific accents, right.
Where everything used to be just American, I guess.
Right, so that's changed, and the talent pool has changed. There are a lot more people. But to my way of thinking, if you're good, you can get work. You just have to be, competitive and get out there and get it.
I would strongly agree with that.
Yeah.
One of my professors at university, a writing professor, said, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's impossible to become like a TV writer or something like that."
No,
it's easy.
No,
it's actually quite easy to become a TV writer. if you're good.
If you're good. Yeah, if you're good. Exactly.
If you're bad,
if you're good.
it will be a very difficult process.
Yeah, exactly.
But you still might accomplish it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not doesn't mean it's impossible.
No.
But if you're good, it does make the process a lot easier. So
right.
If you are talented or you have some skill set that you're bringing with you here,
yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
It would be helpful.
Language abilities help. Did you speak Japanese when you came?
I studied Japanese before I came to Tokyo, but you know, it was rudimentary. But I would recommend to anyone who's seriously thinking of coming here and making a go of it to study Japanese. Do not think that everyone's going to speak English to you, and do not think that everyone does speak English. So, yeah, it's definitely an advantage.
How many years did you study Japanese? Would you say? Like study?
I put in at least 2 good years when I was here, and that gave me a core foundation, which I still use, you know, now. It gave me enough so that I don't have to embarrass myself too frequently.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what, me too. I kind of think it's about 2 years where I actually really buckled down.
Yeah, buckled down.
But then once I got like intermediate and above.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Well, I
can just talk to my friends, or I'll go hang out at the bar.
That's a decision you got to make. And one of the things I said in the book is, you know, if you get to that level, push yourself a little farther and get to the upper intermediate level, and there's going to be a lot more job opportunities for you. Absolutely. Now,
get to like super advanced, like a Patrick Harlan, and then the world's your oyster.
The world's your oyster. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. And like have some talent too, you know.
That comes in handy.
Yeah, exactly. What was your favorite part about the experience of living in Japan so far?
I think that
what's kept you here from that 3 months?
Every day is new. I have never had a dull moment here. Never. It's never like I've woken up and thinking, gee, you know, another day in Tokyo, or I'm bored, or there's nothing to do. Mm-hmm. It's never been like that. Never. It's always a surprise. You know, for me,
always good.
You know, yeah, it's always a surprise. It may not be a welcome surprise, but it's a surprise.
Yeah, exactly. Because as a freelancer, personally, I said like it's not always a welcome surprise.
Right, you know? Right. But you know, another thing for me, being from the West Coast of the United States, and I always had a car. I mean, I always had a car. Here, for me, I love public transportation. You know, you get on the subway, you get off the subway, you get on the train, you get off the train. Yeah, they're crowded. Not always, but you know, I don't know. It's part of the fun of living here to me. Is getting with the program.
Yeah. Like in general, like is there anything you truly miss if you ever left Japan? Any plans to leave Japan?
No, I think I've gotten to the point now where Japan is my home, and if I do leave Japan, it will be because someone has picked up my screenplay, and I have a good reason to spend 6 months to a year in the States making a film. And I fully intend for that to happen. But, if I hadn't come to Japan, I don't know that I would have discovered that I could write screenplays. So,
but I mean, just like work and everything as well, like just as a place to live.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to live exactly in Tokyo for the rest of my life. Tokyo can be tough. But if you're young, it can be the most exciting place on earth. So, check it out.
All right, cool. All right. We got to keep it brief because unfortunately David doesn't have so much time today. So I'm going to leave that for an introduction. We turn it over to you guys for any questions you have, specifically for David. Also wanted to mention your book.
Should I hold it up?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm holding it up. Oh, there we are.
I'll move some copies of this bad boy. Freelancing in Tokyo. It's available on Amazon?
It's available on Amazon, and also if you go to the freelancingintokyo.com website, there's another source called Create Space, and if you can get it from. And if you're here in Tokyo, then just write me a letter and I can get you a copy.
$15.
$15.95. Yep. On Amazon.
It's got a picture of that's so cool that you got a picture on the back sleeve of the book. I still want that. That's so cool.
Well, I had to decide whether or not I thought people would, if that would put people off from buying the book, or whether it would encourage them to buy it.
This is interesting.
Yeah. But I thought, well, that's who I am and what I look like. So there we are. Yeah.
So basically, this is a guide to try to find work as a freelancer in Tokyo.
That is right, in addition to letting people know what they can expect, and in addition to giving people pointers on getting set up. That's really, really important. I was clueless when I came here, clueless. There's a lot of contacts, and also one of the advantages of the book is that there's phrases, you're not going to find them anyplace else, that are related to getting paid and just general living here, but not the sort of stuff you're going to find in other books. And on the website, you're going to hear them said with a native speaker. And I also had an American speaker say them who can speak Japanese, because I found that when I hear someone, an American or a foreigner who can speak Japanese really well, it's easier for me to understand because I understand their accent. And also they tend to speak a little bit slower, so I did both of those things, and it seemed to work well. So
it's fascinating, and actually, like even just here, like the list of agencies.
Yeah, I have agencies that I worked for personally.
So anyway, so he literally wrote the book on freelancing in Tokyo. So any of you guys have any questions about living the Vida Loca?
I did see one up there. It's not freelancing in any stuff. It's I'll briefly run down the topics. It's anything to do with writing, anything to do with teaching, anything to do with music, anything to do with voice.
That's freelancing.
Yeah, all of those are freelance positions. Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
No voice actor is on contract permanently.
There is no, to my knowledge, there are people that get regular gigs.
Yeah.
But as a full-time job to count on, there are a few. There are a few.
Yeah, I suppose if you're like. I used
at
to
NHK.
I used to live with Lenny. Yeah, like Bill Sullivan. Lenny used to do like the Pride. So she would always be the voice of Pride.
Yeah, there are a few people.
Yeah.
But those are tough to get.
Yeah.
But you can get them. They're out there. Yeah. So yes. Otherwise,
So that's the main freelancing. That's the freelancing.
Those are and I also I have to remind myself. It's all in the table of contents. On Amazon, you should be able. Copywriter, right? Transcriber,
transcriptive.
There's teaching your special
interpretation.
If you have that skill, yes. Now, of course, there's a huge talent pool here, and there are plenty of Japanese people that speak beautiful English. So, if you want to do that, you better come prepared and be fluent in the language. But there's work. There's always work for that. Sure. And there's temp agencies too. And one thing that I learned is that if you have a specialty, like if you cook something, from your country, or you teach dance, or or even anything to do with IT, or something that's specific. Like for me, I would teach songwriting.
It's funny, like a lot of the people I've had on the show as guests, many of them are freelancers.
Yeah.
And they do some of the most bizarre things. Like one was a like Latin dance teacher.
Oh yeah. Right.
Hula hoop.
But Deanna, yeah. But I mean, you can do that, and I find that there's a market for that here because it's unique, it's fresh, it's quotes exotic.
How do you say freelance in Japanese?
Well, they don't really use the word freelance, but if you said it in Japanese, I guess it would be freelance.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. You'd either just katakana or like.
Yeah. They use the word
frita.
But that's kind of like a floater. That's kind of a person that doesn't. Yeah, but I mean.
That's different.
Yeah, they don't really have that.
I can't think of a better word for it. Yeah. What was your background in Japanese before you came to Japan?
You mean as far as the language?
Yeah.
Again,
contacts.
Okay, that's a great question. Okay, I did study Japanese for about a year before I came, very rudimentary, and then I had come to Japan as a musician. I met some people in the music industry, and I got one solid contact out of that, and that one solid contact turned out to be the best contact I could have had. That opened up a lot of doors for me. That person, and I also met one American woman who had a room in her apartment, and that's how I was able to sleep the first night in Japan on the tatami floor as opposed to on the street. So yeah, knowing a few people might come in handy. Networking, yeah. I wouldn't come here not knowing anyone. I think that it's really, to use a Japanese word, taihen, which is difficult and challenging. It's better if you know somebody. Any site you highly recommend for job listings. If you go to the website freelancingintokyo.com and you look under employment opportunities under the helpful websites tab, you should be able to find stuff.
Yeah, there is a lot of resources out there, an incredible amount of information out there. You just have to kind of search for it.
Yeah.
This book does a good job of pointing you in the direction of it.
Yeah, but go to the website, because I compiled hundreds and hundreds of websites that are helpful, under helpful websites, and that's a growing thing. If we were to travel to Japan looking for a job, would we be able to use you as contacts?
No.
And I'm going to say...
Go ahead and say no.
I'm going to say gomen nasai, which means I'm sorry, because I don't know you, so I couldn't recommend you. I don't know who you are. If you come here and we meet...
Exactly, but that's the whole thing. It's like, at the same level, you don't ask that question. You go. That's what networking is.
Yeah, right.
You go to places where people are that are doing what it is you want to be doing.
Yeah.
You introduce yourself to them, and you get to know them. And
it's not going to benefit you, and it's certainly not going to benefit me, because if I don't know who you are, you're going to call somebody, and they're going to say, "Why did you recommend this person?" I'm going to say, "I don't know who that person is." Exactly. So no.
But networking is a key part.
Yeah, definitely, and there's tons of opportunities to do that here.
Tons. I mean, there's a networking event almost every night in the city.
Well,
either at the Pink Cow or
there's another one.
And there's another one actually. Yeah.
If you're here in Tokyo on the 21st of January, there's a place called Kimono Wine Bar, and that's also the name of the website, Kimono Wine Bar. We're having a networking night there. And it's a great opportunity to meet other foreigners and exchange meishi, that means name card, business card, and expand your contacts. And yeah, and
exactly. Yeah, so there's like proper channels to which you do that.
There are.
So it's not no so much as like freaking weirdo. It's more like but the way you go about getting contacts is through networking events, things like
networking.
That.
And
every time I work a job, any kind of job whatsoever, I make sure I have a pocket full of business cards.
Yes.
And I'm talking to every single person on the set, every other actor,
that's
camera
right.
guy.
Yeah, make sure you have your business card, and I'm going to show you my business card. It's a little copy of the book. And on the back, I have my picture, which is really important so that they know who I look like. I have my website, my contact information. Before I used to have it in English and Japanese. This time I decided English is fine, and it works.
I was just going to say...
Who takes the card first? Go ahead.
Going back to the writer... Oh, you want to answer that?
No, who takes the card first? If you offer a card to, it depends. Whoever offers the card first, the other person will take the card. Yeah. Okay, he's going to do it. He's going to open. Right. He's going to open his little case. And he's doing it very Japanese. And then he's going to offer me the card. Right. And he's offering it to me the right way. He bowed. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to look at it and I'm going to study it. Okay. And then I'm going to thank him, and then I'm going to hold on to it for a moment, and then I will offer him. Now, ideally, if we sense, actually, I want to keep a copy of the card. And ideally, if we sense that time has come, I'm going to get my cards ready, and whoever I guess is higher in the hierarchy should wait for the lower person to offer the card.
But everybody, whether it's a cameraman, anything.
Yes.
And part of it, I was going to say, it goes with what you were saying at the very beginning of this conversation, was about, I'm a writer and musician.
Right.
Condensing it to a somewhat manageable definition.
Yeah, right.
Like telling people what it is you do.
Yeah, don't overload them.
Yeah, exactly. So that when they're like, oh, God, I need a musician, they think of you.
Right.
So
be who you are.
Generic.
Right.
Yeah. I think if you brand yourself to some extent
yes, right.
I'm the guy that does this.
Yeah.
So when they need someone for doing that, that's...
Well, it depends on how specific you want to get, because when I came here, I was generic, and that's how I managed to get my foot into a lot of doors and learn a lot of things. But that's great. That worked great for me for a number of years, and now I've narrowed it down to what I really want to do.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that's true.
Is filmmaker too broad? Is filmmaker too broad? That's a good question. Not necessarily. Yeah. No. I mean, if that's what you do and you have stuff to back it up, no. But if you're going to come here, I don't know if you're going to make a living at that unless you're very well connected and you speak the language, but you could.
And I would say probably the same as writers. Writers write.
Right.
So writers have, like, we say, oh, you're right, okay, what's yours? And you have something, whether it's been published or not, or put out or not.
Hey,
doesn't matter. But you have physically something you've done. Same thing with filmmaking. You gotta at all times be producing some type of content or working on something.
Yeah, go ahead.
When that actually comes from the workshop with Ellen in some level.
Yeah, right.
It's like, so when people say, oh, so what are you working on now?
Right.
It immediately comes off your tongue, oh, I'm working on this. It doesn't matter whether or not it's like, being paid for by Sony in a big production or not, or it's just something you're working on at home in the back of your head. But you have to always be on something.
Okay, there's a lot of questions, so we should try to get some of them, right? Yeah. Okay, so, any arts-related resources, fine. Is the film script you wrote about Japan? If you go to the site tomokoskitchen.com, that is the first film that I produced, and it was centered around a Japanese woman, although we did it in Los Angeles, and but it is connected to Japan in that way. Are Japanese people very religious? That's not germane to this discussion. Is it hard to get into the music business in Japan? Yes, it is. That was what I came here to do initially, and I think that if I had spoken fluent Japanese, it would have been easier for me. I really wanted to get into music publishing. But if you're talking as an artist, it depends. It depends on what you have to offer that might be unique to them. Excuse me. Go ahead. IT jobs. If you want an IT job here, I would say you need to be bilingual without even batting an eye. Or you need to have such unique, fabulous skills that a major company brings you over here. But, unless you're going to be, if you're working for a company that requires an English speaker, perhaps, but...
In some rare occasions, I've seen, this happens at some level in a lot of companies. Foreign companies send over executives who essentially they have zero language skills.
Exactly.
And they're in positions of really high power.
Right.
And all their staff runs everything, but they don't always exactly understand trust their staff, so they like to have some people in various positions beneath them who speak English, so they can interface with that person directly.
Right.
So I know one guy who worked for the last 3-4 years at an IT company. But it was a foreign company, and it was basically they wanted him over a Japanese guy only because it was the owner of the guy running the company.
Oh yeah, that was a unique situation.
That wanted specifically to be able to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
But in almost 99% of situations, it's the entire office is Japanese.
Yeah.
Even if it's a foreign company.
Come here with Japanese skills. That's the quickest way to answer the question.
Okay. You're right.
What do you think of Jiro? I think he's wonderful. I think he's got a fabulous voice. I love him. I think he's wonderful. What about finding a job playing piano? Yes, that's one of the many things that I've done here and continue to do. So if you want to do that, I would say make get a website. Make sure you have a video of yourself playing and singing, if that's what you do. So that people can really see you. And you can find some of the agencies in my book, and you can also, once you're here, you can start connecting with other musicians. Just make sure you have a video of what you do or have a CD of your performance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, with music, absolutely. Have something to show.
Yeah, have something tangible. I didn't have, when I came here, I actually had come here as a pianist. I was hired from outside, and I came here as a pianist, and I met an agent while I was here, and that's what's opened the doors for me. I hear Japan really doesn't give film permits because of all the public space. That is a great question, and there is a story about Sofia Coppola when she made Lost in Translation, how difficult it was to get film permits. So they did guerrilla filmmaking, and that's what people do here, and the answer to your question is yes, it is, but it's not impossible. Okay.
Because I film in Tokyo all the time for NHK, and it's always a huge pain in the ass capturing film without getting anyone's face.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Getting screenshots, but not including people's faces.
Yeah, there's
things like that. It can be a pain.
Yeah, there's a lot of foot traffic. How would one go about actually starting a business? Well, that's a broad question. What kind of business? I don't know what you mean. The demo should be a 3-song long. If you write more music, then include that. If you're a singer, then they want to hear your voice. No. Okay, yeah, you're kind of giving covering the same things. Okay, so, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think the other thing is, like, there's no real path, like, already, like, laid out for you here.
Well,
like, I kind of think, I was thinking about this morning, like how would I explain, like, freelancing in Tokyo? Like, have you ever seen the movie Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome? You know,
only bits and pieces. Go ahead.
But that's essentially, it's like the post-apocalyptic afterworld, and like nobody's gonna like tell you how to survive necessarily. Well, you know, you can listen to advice from other people who have gone there first, but essentially you've got to kind of bootstrap your own trail.
Great, right? It's right. Jump in and learn how to swim. If that's what it is, but you can. But there's a lot more resources available now than there were when I first came here.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are on the website, and a lot of it's in the book, and that's why I wrote it. It's the first month or so in Japan really hard to make it. Well, it depends on what you're trying to make it as.
Well, I would just point out.
Go ahead.
You shouldn't have to make it in your first month in Japan.
Right.
I mean, if you're not, unless you're mentally ill, you should have like several months worth of backup money before you move to a foreign country to pursue a job and career.
Yeah, okay, he is very, very right. I came here personally with $8,000. I know that's more than most people
that's more than
have. And I know that's
came with like 4,000,
okay.
5,000, I think.
Yeah, but
I had a job lined up.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I didn't. Okay, so I thought that's gonna. I knew how expensive Tokyo was, and I thought, and I did have a place to stay. That was the other thing. I had a place to stay, and I had one contact, a place to stay, a contact, and I had $8,000, and that's how I started off. It's very important to know that you have a place to live.
Physically, like an actual place to.
Right. Yeah. The quotes gaijin houses. Gaijin houses have gotten better.
They're easier to find nowadays.
They're easier to find. There's a lot of resources on my website where you can, you get to real estate companies that handle buildings specifically for foreigners. Yes, I'm sorry, that is a reality here. So, okay.
That's a good. What's the one practical thing you wish you had brought when you...
That I had brought when I...
That's a long time ago, that question for you.
Yeah, but one thing I wish I had brought with me...
I mean, 16 years ago, though, I mean...
Well,
there was a lot less here from abroad.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I came pretty prepared. I mean, at that time it was a lot more difficult to get the comfort food that I like. It's easier now. So, a blue plastic sheet down in the park. Yeah, that's.
Hey,
that's how about getting into the Japanese porn industry? That's something you have to find out once you get here.
Exactly.
Okay, was it hard finding a place? I can't recommend any gaijin houses because I didn't live in one, but they're very well organized now. There's pictures of everything, and
they come furnished, which
they come furnished.
Never would
some of them have wireless, and one of the things I suggest in the book, although this is difficult for people, I understand, but one of the things I recommend is coming here for a month, checking it out. There's plenty of temporary apartments where you can come, you can check out the city, and you can say, is this what I want to do?
Yeah.
Before you, close up the apartment, say goodbye to mom and dad, and get on the plane. Basically, I closed everything up and I came here, but I was pretty certain I was going to survive. But, trust me, the first 2 weeks I was like, what have I done? I'm homesick. Yeah. I've made a horrible mistake.
Oh, I still have panic attacks.
Yeah, there's panic. Yeah, you're going to have panic attacks. I don't have them anymore. Yeah. But you will have
8 years in, I still have them.
Yeah, you will have them.
How? Like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah, exactly. How would one go about starting a karaoke bar cafe? Okay, that's probably not a business you'd want to start because the entire city is littered with them.
Yeah, also I'll probably have somebody who's done that at some point on the show.
Yeah.
So save it for then. That's a whole other.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
What are some mistakes new foreigners make when they come here? That's an excellent question. Okay. Watch the movie Mr. Baseball with Tom Selleck, and you will discover many of the mistakes that foreigners make when they come here. One of the mistakes is coming here with a sort of arrogance about what you think the Japanese should know about you or your country or your language. That is a big mistake. And also, English is not their language, so do not get upset if they don't speak it and don't understand you. Yeah, it's different here. It's a different country. It's a different world, and you have to allow for things that are not the way that you think they're supposed to be. And if you cannot allow for that, you're going to have difficulties. And I'll be honest, I had a lot of problems when I came here. There's things that just didn't make any sense to me. They still don't, but I've learned to accept a lot of stuff. When starting a business, how do you...
Actually,
go ahead.
Those are great questions about starting a business, but neither of us have done that. So this is not the guest to talk about that. It's about freelancing, really.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Again, that's slightly different. Although many freelancers do start their own business.
They do.
As a way to charge companies. They start their own business then their company, that's not really a company, it's them, charges the other companies, and they pay taxes through their business, not personally.
Oh, that's good information I don't have. I mean, otherwise you can incorporate, but I mean that's something that you need a specialist.
But they're not really setting up a company. You're kind of just setting up a company on paper to help manage your resources, and that you're gonna almost definitely have to do that with a Japanese accountant.
Yeah, right.
And lawyer.
I can't read the handle, but yes, talking about food is a great way to break the ice with Japanese. Absolutely right. And I also would say, in regards to food, the Japanese are obsessed with their own food.
Yeah.
And if you come here and you have issues with eating Japanese food, then I'd say don't bother coming to Japan. Really, I brought my cousin and his friend to Japan a couple of years ago, and the friend couldn't eat Japanese food, and it was a real... Now, there's plenty of, foreign food restaurants, and you can find almost anything you want in Tokyo, but the staple food here, it's Japanese, so...
Yeah, and I mean, I know vegans who have survived here.
Yeah, you can survive.
But they end up eating a lot of edamame.
Yeah, you're going to have to adjust, and but the thing is, if you're broad-minded and you can, and besides, Japanese cuisine is known all over the world. It isn't quite as foreign as it used to be. But if you don't eat it every day, and if you haven't experienced it other than the sushi restaurant in your hometown, then be prepared to have your eyes opened.
Another thing, under the category of mistakes foreigners make when coming here, the majority of your early contacts, networking, and job offers, did you think it came through Japanese people or through foreign people?
That is a good question. That is an excellent question. I'd say most of the people that in the beginning were through the foreign people that I met.
And that's what I want to make a point of.
Yes.
A lot of people come to Japan and then treat all of the foreigners like a scourge upon their existence.
He's right.
But the real key is they are your friends.
Make them your friends.
Personally, for me too. As soon as I actively started seeking out other foreigners which had shared interests, for me it was the Tokyo Comedy Store. I started then getting involved with people who had a similar life story to me, similar interest to me, and were doing already. They already established themselves, and then they became a great introduction into the larger. Exactly.
So,
also because of my language abilities at that time as well, it wasn't easy to speak. So instead of avoiding foreigners at all possible things, look at foreigners as possible allies. But a lot of people look at other foreigners as the competition.
You know what? It's funny that you say that because I talk about it in the book. And I mean, when I first came here...
Oh, I read it, obviously. Before this interview. I didn't want to be... Oh,
well, thank you. No, people, I've noticed, when I first came here, foreigners were a lot friendlier to each other. Because the pool was smaller. And now people are you'll look at them and they'll look away. And it's hey people, we're not Japanese, so, be friendly and help each other out. That's what it's about,
And you really never know who is going to be useful.
Right. Right.
You never know.
Yeah.
They come in all sizes.
Yeah,
shapes,
keep
and
that in
colors.
mind. That's a general life lesson. Yeah, right.
True, yeah, it's true everywhere.
Right.
You never know who's going to be, useful one day.
Giving small gifts like crackers or cookies it's a great gesture in Japan to give these small, modest gifts. Yes, giving small gifts, is really, it's a very nice thing to do, and you will receive them too. Yeah. And don't get involved like, well, why did they give me that, or do they want to go out with me, or is there like hidden meetings? I mean, it's just
But actually, I remember I was working with this one guy on this.
They could have hidden meetings.
I was working on this one guy with this job, the Japanese guy, and he was very gento techie, and I knew it. Like he's very kind of like just the ultra Japanese. He's like will say that like that I am very much aware of what he's doing. But anyway, my parents came to visit, and he gave me some snacks, and he wanted to give them to my parents while they were visiting as like a sign of respect. And I was really busy with them, and I was just like, look, dude, I don't have time. We didn't meet, and eventually it was like after they had already left, I met him at a coffee shop, and he gave me the things. Oh yeah, thanks, thank you. I'll pass this on to them.
Oh yeah.
And I said to them, and there was never like a card sent back. And there was never like a, anything. You know where this is going.
Yeah.
I never heard from him again.
Yeah.
No work ever came from that guy. And before that, we'd been working together at least once a month. And we'd been developing a very close relationship. And I didn't really think about it at the time or care at the time.
Yeah.
Because I just like, why is he annoying me with this stupid little present? Now I have to write this card. And
that's right, you do.
Back.
You don't have to give something back.
Well, yeah, but it's just like, it kind of.
Don't ignore it.
At that point, it was sucking in, and I was thinking like, I don't have time for this crap. Yeah. I understand it's situation, but I don't have time for this crap. But like, no,
you do now.
Make time for this crap.
Yeah, you make time for
because
it. Right, it's important.
Sending that little card or that little gesture back, especially for Japanese people,
well, it shows
all people. But like, it can go a long way. And they're like, next time they have that job come up, they're like, that guy gets it. He was respectful. And did everything.
And I talk about that in the book as well. Somebody says, does the book give real life examples of freelancing experience? That is what the majority of the book is. Yes, I discuss exactly what happened to me, how I got the jobs, what my experiences was, and what you can expect. So that is definitely a large part of the book. Should you do research on what the Japanese like before making a business? Okay, that's another topic that's not germane to this discussion.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so...
I'll try and get somebody who owns a business on here one of these days.
Yeah.
For like that type of discussion. But freelancing is different than starting up a business.
Yeah, it's completely different, right. And
we're hired guns.
Right.
Not the sheriff.
And, I should say, did I work regularly? I worked a couple of full-time jobs, but to be honest, I have essentially freelanced since I came here. And I have no interest in a full-time job unless it's, producing my next film.
Exactly, and that's the other thing, like, for you and I both, we have other side projects that we are, chasing as like artists. But most of our money work is coming through like a similar skill. Right. But it's not exactly, like a lot of the stuff I write does not thrill me to write it, like, children's programs and things like that. But, I got to pay rent. So. Yeah,
but to me, it's, all of those lead to other things, and that's the way to look at it. So, and it would be the same thing anyplace else, So, any advice for the initial, would it be good to be a freelancer while waiting to open a business? Yes, it would. I wouldn't, yes, it would be.
And actually, also with freelancing, like as both of us saying, we both taught at one point, like freelancing is something you do in addition to possibly a part-time job at an English school.
Or possibly full-time job.
Or full-time job, exactly.
I talked about my schedule in the book. Like, yeah, exactly. Right, it was a little hairy, right.
Oh, exactly. Remember The Loop?
The Loop.
It was a sitcom thing.
The Yamanote Loop? Vaguely I remember it,
I was a head writer for that. But basically it was me and a bunch of friends like who were working full-time jobs.
Right.
And then we were getting together to put this project together in our evenings, weekends, mornings, and using our own money to pay for it, So that's...
There's a lot of that here too.
There's a lot of that.
How do you convince employers that freelance is just? You don't have to convince employers that freelance. I mean, because I've done a lot of contract jobs here. 3 months here, 6 months here. One of the companies that I taught English for, it was like, okay, this assignment is for 12 weeks. This assignment is for 6 weeks. This assignment is for 2 months. So if it works in my schedule, it's like, great, okay, I can do that. Or this job is just for a couple of hours. I had a great job every Friday afternoon. I worked for the I can't remember the name of the company. Was it like a Better Business Bureau in Tokyo? Friday from 1 to 5. It was great. And I worked that job as long as I wanted to.
That's a tough question. Like, would you make more money doing freelancing or working?
Okay, that's a good question.
That's impossible to answer, probably.
Well, I mean, it's impossible to answer, except to say that there are waves, and there were waves when I was riding high, and there were waves when I was, standing on the bottom of the ocean. So it depends. Does freelance require more travel between? No. Tokyo. It could, but that would be a great thing.
Exactly.
Would I be better if looking for a foreign business that needs my skills? If you're a computer programmer, that's a great skill, and I'd say if you speak Japanese, at least at an intermediate level, then there's so many sites. You need to check out sites, and that's not really a freelance question, so it's hard for me to answer it.
Also, keep in mind that a lot of the discussion we're having about this is avoiding the discussion of visas. Like, you still have to have a visa.
Oh, right, yeah. Let's be clear on that.
In the country as well, so you can't just show up.
Right.
Well, actually, it's not country.
You can't.
Okay.
You can. Anything is possible. But there are a lot more. When I first came here, I was able to do some quotes modeling. In fact, I did. That was my first job. I know it's hard to believe. Yes, my first job was as a model. Yes, I mean not Naomi Campbell model, but I mean they needed somebody for a catalog, and I fit the bill. So, at any rate, I did that before I had my visa. But these days they're a lot more strict, and yes, none of these things are possible without a visa. You need to get a visa. I talk about that extensively in the book, and there's plenty of websites that also discuss it in detail. You need a visa.
Exactly. So that's why maybe in some ways the answer guy, the IT guy, whether you get a job with a foreign company or Japanese company doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
But you have to get a job with a company.
Right, and you need to, before you can do any self-sponsorship or get anywhere down the line with that, someone's going to have to sponsor you. You need a guarantor to open the door for you in Japan, so that the immigration can be sure that you're not going to run amok in the country and cause problems. Essentially.
That's why English teaching is such a popular entry point into the country.
Right. That's right. That's right. You can always exactly. Okay, how much is the book? It's $15.95. I just wonder what to do when walking off the plane. You buy the book and you read it before you walk off the plane. Okay. That's the best answer to the question. I mean, I wrote it so that you can start from day one having some foundation, so that you're not wandering. I was clueless when I came here. That's why I wrote the book, because I started to get emails from acquaintances through the years like, why want I come to Japan and make money? And at first I started to answer them, was like, no, this isn't going to work. There's too much information. So I put it together.
That's kind of the same reason why I started doing my YouTube videos. Is that when I searched the internet for information years ago, I found one website, Dave's ESL Cafe.
Oh yeah, right. I can remember it. Yeah.
And I looked on the forums there, and that was my entire information.
Your world.
That was it. That's all I had.
Your world.
And I moved here based on one discussion, a couple threads on a discussion forum. So I was like, Jesus, wow, I'm here. Might as well share some of the information.
I'm glad that you did that, and that's one of the reasons I did it too. Think I'll read it before I get on the plane. That's a smart decision. How are sponsors found? I talk about that in the book in great detail too. Every foreigner I have met here has a different story.
Yeah.
I met mine through my roommate. He happened to be an American. He had his own company. I walked into his life at the right moment. He said, well, I've never done this before, but okay, sure, I'll do it. I was lucky. Read it while you're on the plane. Yeah. Okay, you could.
There was a YouTube gathering almost a year ago now, I guess, and this one guy showed up. He's like, oh yeah, I just got into the country 2 weeks ago. I'm like, oh cool, you're on vacation? Like, no, I'm working for some company as a designer or something like that. It's like, well, how the hell did you work that out?
Yeah.
I don't know. He came during a recession, just happened to walk into the right place, got the right interview, went from tourist to having a job, and skipped over all of the warnings, everything I say.
All of that stuff is possible.
But I mean, I wouldn't put good money on it.
Right. And also, one thing that I'd say is important is, you need an attitude adjustment when you come here. And I'd also say appearance is important, especially if you're going to do anything in a sort of corporate or business way. I got my first teaching job, even though I was not a qualified teacher, because I came, dressed to impress. And the other guy, who was younger than me, he didn't show up looking right. And I thought to myself, he may have had more teaching skills than I did, but I walked in looking right.
Yeah, Japan is very, very, very...
fashion savvy.
Yeah, and look,
or business savvy.
How things appear is very important.
Right. Will I be making YouTube promos for his book? I will now that I've worked with Kevin, yes, I will be. How much is a Big Mac meal there? I don't know. Same thing, yeah, right. I think Japanese matters, yes, it does matter. But, okay, I heard you, okay. All right.
Dress like a salaryman helps. Yeah, essentially.
Yes, essentially, yes, it does, unless you want to be an artist or you're doing something in a little bit more of a creative way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
It's like every spring, all the university graduates all dye their hair black. Black suit and go through their job interviews. Every single person interviewing for jobs after university here looks exactly the same. They have the exact same black suit, short cropped.
Yeah, it is a little bit severe during the month of April when everyone's trying to get a job, and they do kind of tone it down, but that's, how it works. What was the one? Let me see. We won't. I missed the question. It went by. There was a good. Somebody asked about freelancing before you get a visa. Yeah, you could, but what's the point? I mean, you can, and actually, I did, but that means that the company is willing to pay you cash, that you don't have a bank account set up, and that you can make those arrangements without any sort of a problem. As piercing or tattoo, should they hide them really well? It depends on what kind of work you're interested in. You do not need Japanese citizenship to get if you're a Japanese citizen, then you're not. You don't need my book. Do you have? Okay, we don't need sex questions. Okay, she mentioned being too different in the workplace can cause you. That depends. It depends. You don't have to dye your hair black, and it's not. Right. Japan, there's a phrase that the nail sticks out. Yes, that's right. The nail that sticks out does get hammered down.
Do you think it's true?
I don't think it's true anymore, because I think that, I think it is true in a broad sense, but I think that a lot of Japanese people are breaking out of their, of the molds, and they're being a lot bolder. But they still have to answer to a higher authority, which is like the general society, and that's something that I think is difficult for them. But, it's one of the things that I love about them, because they're, they do belong to the society, and yet they want to be unique and different like anybody else,
Yeah, I think, in my experience anyway, like, the nail that sticks out does get hammered down, but not always. I've met a lot of Japanese nails that stick out, and people around them respect them for being...
secretly admire them.
But those are people in specific jobs, like TV directors or, like other things I've met, like where it helps in their situation to be that way.
No, exactly, exactly.
But if you're an accountant, it's probably not the best thing.
Right. So, how long should you? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, how long should you plan to live sparsely before you break into the freelancing market? I kind of roughed it, I guess, for about 6 months. But it depends on how quickly you can get connected.
Yeah.
Should you try to fit in right away? Yes and no. Read the book. The dressing rules different for women and men. I saw a lot of Japanese women on trains that were less conservative. Depends on what you're doing.
Well, they're probably not employed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. You see, the teaching English is the way to start, where you just how exactly do you apply to teach. Read the
Out
book.
there, yeah.
You know, you
Like-
prepare your resume. You look for job advertisements like you would for anything else.
Yeah, Google English teaching Japan.
You know, JET, Japan, English. Yeah, it depends on what kind of level you want to. You know, I started right away at a major corporation, and I was like thrown into the fire from day one. And so I wouldn't work for a jet, and I wouldn't work for a chain English school. But that's me. Yeah, everyone go buy a book right now. That would be great. Thanks, Kyori-chan. Arigato. Yeah, Gaijin Pod. Nova's out of business. It doesn't exist anymore, so forget Nova.
Oh, no, Nova still exists.
Oh, does it?
It's only in the suburbs, though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
A new company is taking it over, and they're trying to rehabilitate it, but I don't see how the hell they're going to do that.
Okay, well, that's questionable.
And they're trying to keep the brand name.
Yeah.
I don't see
Good
how they're
luck.
going to
I don't know what the
brand.
point would it be. Did you take the proficiency test? Yes, I took it. I took level 3, and if you're going level number 1 is the top level, and if you're going to take it, I mean, if you're going to go to that time in trouble, then push yourself to get to level 2, and you will be happy that you did, and a lot more job opportunities will be available to you. Yeah.
Honestly, I think when companies look at people for interviews, there's a huge gap between 2 and 3.
Yeah, yeah, you said it. You summed it up, right.
If you're a JLPT 2 and you seem like an exceptionally bright, qualified person, you've got a chance.
You've got a much better one.
A better chance.
Yeah, definitely.
3,
it's okay, but how
it's
important is JLPT 1? It depends on what you're
to
going
work
for.
in a Japanese office, like with coworkers and stuff like that.
Yeah, and in a lot of jobs they'll ask for, they want someone who's fluent in both languages, and you can't blame them. I mean, they're not going to make things easier for you. That's a mistake I made.
That's the other thing also. I'm starting to get there. 8 years is now starting to push it, but I feel like that old timer syndrome where it's like, I remember when the JLPT test had only 4 levels.
Oh, do they have 5 levels now?
Yeah, and Metropolis magazine was called Tokyo Classified.
Oh, yeah,
I remember when English you just made $100 an hour.
Yeah, no, those days are gone. Completely over with.
Oh my god, they have these 5 levels now. But level 5 is, you'd have to be like a complete retard not to pass it.
Yeah, I mean,
if you've heard the Devo song Domo Arigato, you could pass it.
Yes, yeah. That's pretty good. Okay, any more questions, folks?
Yeah. You have to be going?
Well, I'm okay till 1:30.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if people are still interested, but really, I'm a great resource because I've done it all. So if you have questions, go ahead and ask. How much is it an hour to teach English? No, it's not since it was... okay, how much is it? It ranges between about 2,000 to 5,000 yen an hour, which is roughly 20 to 50 American dollars an hour, and it depends on what kind of company and who you're teaching.
I think when I got here 8 years ago, the average cost an hour was 3,000.
Yeah, well, and it still is.
I think now it's about 2,000, 2,500. I think the price has gone down a little bit.
No. I think
over
you
the
can
last 8 years.
I think you can still find the other
but
ones.
But personally, I would never teach for less than 4,000.
Yeah. Well, that's that's interesting because that's a decision I made too.
Yeah. First of all, like if you charge 2,000, people will think you're worth 2,000.
Exactly. Your quote. It is exactly what I said in the book.
And second, it's not worth my time at that point.
Well, that's because you're doing other things now.
Yeah.
For someone who's not doing it, but right.
But even if I had no other job, I should be working towards getting something better. You got to survive.
If that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I say, don't teach English unless you really want to teach English.
Yeah, I
but
agree with that.
It is a way to get to other levels, and also it's a great way to meet Japanese people and find out what they have to go through in their corporate life.
And also, I should point out that teaching, if you're with a big school, like they'll give you a chock-a-block full day of like 8 lessons.
Right.
But you're probably only getting paid like 1,500 yen per lesson. If you're just freelancing teaching, maybe you're getting like 4,000 yen for one student.
Right.
But then you've got like a 2-3 hour break in the middle of the day where you're hanging out at the coffee shop reading a newspaper. So you have your one other student of the day who's like 4,000 yen. So like often, depending on which route you go, like working in a school, the amount of pay per lesson is much lower, but you get a lot more work.
Right.
Whereas working freelance as a teacher, your probably pay per lesson is higher, but there's a lot of downtime, and you have to do your own scheduling and organizing, and they get sick, and the cat dies, and then they don't show up for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but the upside to it is that you control your schedule. So that's one of the reasons why I suggest that. And also, it depends on what kind of students you get. I mean, aim for people that, that's why I say you can get the jobs directly to the companies if you can. Go ahead.
I was going to say, what do you think is the minimum you need to survive on in Tokyo per month?
Well, the way to answer that question is how much is your apartment?
Yeah.
Okay. You can get and I'm underlining this in triplicate, decent apartment between 60,000 and 80,000 yen, which is roughly between $600 and $800 a month.
I'll go with that.
Okay. So I would say that you need at least 200,000 yen, which is roughly $2,000 a month, and I think. I think you can survive just fine on that if you don't have outstanding debts and you're not a big spender. That's my feeling.
Yeah, I agree with that as a number. I think about $2,000 a month and you can survive. I've survived on less than that, but literally I was eating like boiled pasta every meal.
Right.
Like walking to stations rather than taking the train.
Well, this is my feeling. Don't come here with the attitude. You might have to rough it. So what? Okay, but you're in a different country and everything's new and unique. So if you're going to come here with the attitude that you're going to succeed, and don't burrow yourself into a cheap apartment and you get the lowest paying job you can, thinking this is my new life. That's a lot of people get into that sort of thinking, and it doesn't work. That's not what I'm trying to get people to think.
That's true, and at some level, you even have to then go out and hang out in more expensive circles to make some of the contacts you're trying to make.
That's right.
I remember.
I would say start doing that as soon as you can.
I remember very, 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 very well, my first year in Japan, with Chris Wells.
Right.
Or some of these other guys.
Who's a great voice actor.
Oh, right. Amazing guy. Yeah. But it's I remember, it was after a comedy show, and he lives in Omotesando, that area. So he's like, hey, let's all hang out and have a pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking okay, a pizza, right, sure. As I'm fumbling with my a glass of ice water, the third glass of ice water for the night, thinking how am I going to pay for part of this pizza that he just ordered?
Okay, this is a good thing that you're bringing up.
But it's important to spend that face time. At the same time, I was counting every yen, but other people who were ahead of me on the kind of.
But that's how. Well, that's life. You're going to hang out with kind of the financial group that you think that you belong to, but. I suggest the wonderful thing about Tokyo is it makes strange bedfellows of us all. And I, because I play piano, I was able to kind of walk into this very rich expat world, which I probably would have never walked into otherwise. And I met all these people, which led to a great job for me at a really nice restaurant playing piano in Japan. But the thing is, get to know them. And you never know who needs who for what. That's the thing. Be prepared. Have your business card. Kevin has one with his picture on it. Okay, and he has his information simply in. Is that okay that I'm showing it?
Yeah.
And he has his information simply in Japanese and English on the back. And that's what I did too. I had a picture, and have that with you. Have that prepared from day one. In fact, if you look on my blog, there's a great site.
Card is key.
Yeah, card is key. Card is key. Yeah. Okay. Is it? Okay.
I think 2,000. Yeah, I agree with your assessment. But $2,000. 60 to 80 Roku Hachiman.
Yeah.
Around that's reasonable. I've never paid less than 60 or more than 80.
Yeah. Right. Card should be half English, half Japanese. Not half English, half Japanese. Yeah, I mean, one side could be English, one side could be Japanese. That seems to work quite well.
And actually, truth be told,
we need to.
I have 3 business cards.
Oh yeah, you're right, and you'll find that depending on the situation. Go ahead.
My kind of YouTube friend business card.
Right.
And then I have like a business card for like another company I work for. Then I have one that's just a joke business card, but has my real contact information on it.
Yeah, but
so it's like depending on the situation, I have like a serious card or like
I've done it too. I have done it too, and I think that's a good move. I think that's a smart move. I've heard about having more than one. I don't see anything else. One. I don't know what the question is.
More than one card.
One. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Like I would have like a little.
Yeah, and he's done it very. It's very oshare, which is stylish. It's a nice little case, and I want to. Okay, you should put on the pic of you. Yeah. Okay. Questions? Different fake IDs and passports. I wouldn't waste my time with that.
They're always fascinated by the people in the background.
Oh, okay. All right.
They always want me to go talk to them, but
okay. Well, sorry.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen. Do people take you more seriously if you have a card? Okay, you have to have a card. There's not.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have a card, you don't exist.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So it doesn't have any meaning.
Actually, I freaked out. Like I was, I think I can talk about it now because I don't think they were going to.
You're okay.
No, the show's. I think the show's getting canceled after the second season. I think, but I worked on a show called I Saw a Japanese Game Show.
Oh, you did work on it.
I worked on it. Yeah, I was night cameraman and.
Oh, you were.
I did translation stuff for them and stuff like that.
Do you know Helene Fujita? Beautiful girl. She speaks English, French, and Japanese. No, because she worked on the show at some point. Anyway, go ahead. I
didn't do the last season. It was the first season. Anyway,
okay.
Like, I remember the first season, like where they had this guy who was raised in LA of Japanese descent.
Okay.
Who was their fixer? He was the guy to do things. But it's like he didn't know anything. Like I am more Japanese than this guy, right?
Yeah.
He just his parents were Japanese, and so he spoke some Japanese, so they thought he'd be fine.
Oh, I see.
And like the first day, I was asked around, and I realized not one person on the set of the entire TV show had a business card.
Wow.
And I was like, how are you guys doing business with Toho if nobody has a business card?
No.
And they're like they had no idea. Like, I'm just like, oh my god, oh my god, the people at Toho hate you. Everyone at Toho is like, what are these people doing here?
Your business card is essential. Would you change to go to a different country if you could? No, I wouldn't. That's why I'm here. Yeah, the guy between your shoulders is the real star of the show. Yeah, well, in somebody's mind, I guess it is. You just make the cards yourself and you get them printed. Depends, what your budget is.
I went to Kinko's. I designed my own card on Photoshop, and then I went to Kinko's. So basically, just go to Kinko's and you can, like, they have a format. You just fill in the information. You can have it done in an hour. It costs like $60, $70.
Well,
like 100, 200 printers.
Yeah, I hired somebody to do it. It's Mojo Print. You can see it on my blog. The guy's in Osaka. He speaks English. I think he's Vietnamese, but he speaks English. Native English speaker. And he made my cards. It was about 6,000 yen. What do you do when you are homesick? You get iChat or Skype with video, and you make sure you stay in touch with your friends and family.
Actually, I just read an article in the Japan Times recently. Some foreign head of a hospital who's been here since like the Korean War, and they asked him the same questions, like, do you get homesick? And he's like, first of all, I've been here for like 40 years.
This is my home. I know it's kind of a dumb question,
but it's like, with Costco, Skype,
right.
The Tokyo of today
is radically different
than it was maybe in the 60s and 70s. So it's like you really can't complain of being homesick nowadays nearly as much.
No,
it's not like Commodore Perry times.
No,
like where was it, 3-month sea voyage to get here? I mean, you could be back stateside within 12 hours of having decided to go. And,
oh my god, that is fun. That's hysterical.
You can get anything. You can get, well, not anything, but you can pretty much get most things.
The questions are going by quickly. Would you, somebody was talking about, yes, would you get one before, you can get your card made before you come here, but you're not going to be able to put a phone number on it unless you have a phone number. How is healthcare for expats?
That's a good question. I'm fine.
Yeah, it depends on where you go, but it depends on where you go. Yes.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but yeah, I'm a member of the national health insurance program here.
I have the health insurance program
which, of course, means we're socialist communists. But
I cover that in the book. Yeah.
The Japanese government covers 70% of any medical or dental, and the costs of the actual things themselves. Like I went in, like my dental copay, 30% copay, is like 1,000 yen. You know,
yeah,
it's
right,
ridiculously cheap.
Yeah, I've had, yes, so. Right. How do people treat you because you're different? Depends on how you treat them, and it depends how you present yourself. And if you walk around with an attitude and you expect to be treated better or different, you know, then I don't know that you're going to have a successful experience here.
Is Tokyo expensive?
He said it's very inexpensive. Well,
I think if you live, you know,
if
like
you live
eat
cheaply,
noodles, and
if you
survive on noodles, and you get a first floor apartment in an earthquake
prone
zone, yeah.
Yeah, if you eat cup ramen, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can live cheaply here.
What
but
about
it's harder, I think, for foreigners because we want to live at some level like we did back home.
Right, it is, but that's the motivation to go out there and get good jobs and you know, and have a life.
Oh, she mentioned about healthcare. Yeah, healthcare here is much cheaper than it is in the States.
Yeah, much cheaper. What about the language barrier? Yes, there is one. That's why I say study Japanese before you get here. Doesn't mean you have to be fluent. Tokyo is probably a lot cheaper than London. Probably. Is it hard to shop for taller and bigger people? It's not a dumb question at all. And yes, it is. But actually, Kevin is taller, so I'm going to let him answer that question.
But I'm working with big and tall shops. It's always big and tall. It's never big or tall.
Yeah, right.
You know? Right, I have like the waist size of Pinocchio and like the collar size of Jamili Turkin. So, but I have like extremely lanky arms.
Right.
So for me, it's very difficult finding stuff that fits. But if you're tall and fat, yeah, there are stuff. There's
big,
a place
tall and big.
Tall, yeah. There's a shop called Zen Mall.
Zen Mall, right.
Specifically that caters to the large at heart.
Right. How hard is it getting used to the highly respectable culture? Okay, this is a good question, and I'd say that if you have a certain level of politeness and you expect it in other people, you're going to appreciate that. And if you're somebody that doesn't have any manners, then you know, good luck. Get ready for a lot of. Sorry, go ahead.
I've said this a million times on this show, but the biggest, and I'm guessing you might have some similar experience with this. The biggest like gaijin killer here is paranoia. And I've seen it like so many foreigners, where they get on the train and they're like, "Why is everybody fucking looking at me?"
Right.
You know, why does everybody hate me? And it's all in their head, and they're interpreting every situation
be this
us versus them, and they're incredibly sensitive to anything, and they interpret everything that happens to them through this.
Do not second guess. That's a big mistake.
Just take things at face value.
Yeah, right.
And everyone worries about, are they being tatemai? Oh, they're secretly, you know, hating me, but they're like,
well, they might be, but you know,
but who gives a shit? You know?
I mean, don't get into that headspace.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, Smoker's Paradise. It's not a Smoker's Paradise anymore. It has radically changed
compared to LA or New York. It is still.
Yes,
but it's changing.
There are a lot more restaurants where there is non-smoking. There are a lot more lunch hours that are non-smoking. It has changed. I hear if your superior takes you out to dinners, you have to pay for whatever I don't know. That's never happened to me. When I traveled in Japan, I was impressed at how friendly everyone is. They can be.
Just chasing point.
Okay, I found Japanese people barely, and they went out of their way. Okay, my experience when I got lost in Japan, when I first came here, like I was wandering around Tokyo looking for an address. You'll read about it in the book. I called them the guide people. They actually walked with me to my location. It was mind-boggling. They walked with me till I got there because I couldn't read anything. I didn't know where I was, and you know, if you're into cigarettes, great. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I've had the exact same experience where people will literally grab my hand and walk with me. Yeah. But then the flip side of that, I remember I was like in Suidabashi. It was like my second year here, and this Japanese woman was walking along, and she asked this Japanese dude, "Excuse me, do you know where Suidabashi Station is?" Right. And so I'm prepping in my mind how to explain where the station is. And she walks up and she sees me, and she's about to ask this. She's "Oh, never mind," and goes on to the next person. And I'm like, "No, come back." You know?
Yeah, right.
Like, it's frustrating at that level too. When you've been here longer.
Right.
So like when you're first here, they're incredibly generous and kind to help you, assuming that you don't know what you're doing.
The first couple years,
then at some level, you do get kind of tired of the assumption that you don't know what you're doing. And
right.
then it comes back in a different way, and you start resenting the fact that they're trying to be helpful.
Okay, that's true too. Way. But then you get past that.
Yeah,
but all those things happen.
You go through phases, different periods of
definitely.
How you view their friendliness.
Yeah. When I got lost, I would look for a young person that usually spoke a little English. That's probably true. Yeah, I would agree.
But then some of the most friendliest people I've met have been like people who were here during the Tokyo fire bombings. You know, like I've never met like an elderly person who was like, I remember the war. I've never had that experience.
I have personally. They have been the nicest people I have met, and some of them are willing to speak to you. If an older Japanese person speaks to you on the train, do not freak out. Do not get an attitude. Be nice to them. They lived through all that hell, and
they've always been like incredibly nice.
You know, I mean, I've never had do you know how the Japanese act towards American military? That's outside the. This does not have anything to do with freelancing.
Well, a lot of what we said hasn't. But
that's tough.
That's a tough question.
I can't answer that question.
I think that's a really tough question. I got to get a military person on the show.
You go to Roppongi and you can find out.
He says bitterly.
Okay, I don't know what I'm not seeing questions that I can answer. So, are there many? I don't know. Should you watch out for your wallet? Oh, okay. Let's say that. What's the word for about pickpockets? That activity has increased, and you should keep your wits about you. It's not Los Angeles or New York where.
And I would say this. It's weird, but I get worried when I'm on an empty train car in New York.
Yeah.
I get worried when I'm walking down an empty street in New York.
Yeah.
In Japan, I get worried when I'm on a crowded street or a crowded train.
Yeah.
You know, the danger is higher in those opposite situations.
Yeah. Are people more polite in LA? I don't know what the question is. When is a good time of year? That's a
people more polite than in LA.
Oh, are they more polite than in LA? Generally speaking, yes. It depends.
I think so.
It depends.
Personally, for me, there.
Yes. When is a good time of year to visit Japan? The best time to visit Japan is in spring or in autumn. That's my experience. What's something you'd never expect you'd love in Japan, but now you really don't want to do without? That is an excellent question.
Ramen.
I'd say, oh boy. Okay, I'm not going to get too personal. There's some foods that I think are great here. I like the presentation. I like the presentation of things, and I also like being greeted when I go into a shop. Something that you don't, you get greeted, you get acknowledged as a customer. That's kind of nice. Have you ever been indiscriminated based on your age and the physical changes in appearance due to aging? Yes. I mean, I've been told we want someone younger, but that's going to happen anywhere.
Yes.
Is Golden Week a good time to come? Actually, no, it's a great time to come because nobody's here.
Yeah. It's Same thing with Oshigatsu New Year's.
Yeah.
Tokyo empties out.
Yeah, it's a great time to. Have you ever been to Kyoto? Yes, I have. Have you had fugu? Yes, I have. And yes, I live to tell about it.
What's your take on fugu?
I didn't get what the big deal was. To me, it had absolutely no flavor. It depends on the sauces that you put it in. When they first started to serve fugu, the whole idea behind it was that they'd leave a little bit of poison in it so that it would give you a sort of a tingle. But they've gotten so skilled at removing the poisonous part of the fish's body that to me, I didn't get what the big deal was about.
There is no big deal. Yeah. It's just something to be able to say you did.
Right. Fugu is blowfish, putterfish. Yeah, that's right. Kiri-chan, whoever you are, you know a lot. Are there any? I don't know what.
1,200 people.
Yeah. Don't know what the question is. Are there any crucial traditions? I don't know. Crucial traditions you should know about.
Yeah.
That's fast. Did the chef taste the fugu? No, he did not. Natto. Eat natto as much as you can.
Also, I should point out fugu, if you guys are really interested. There's another variety of fugu that is not poisonous, tora fugu, and that's the majority of the fugu that's sold. The fugu that you're imagining, like with the little spikes on it, is not served generally in restaurants. It's another kind of squarish, almost like brick-shaped fish that is served.
And, he's very knowledgeable.
And it's actually, I can't remember which it is, but it's like either the females or the males are in no way poisonous.
Oh, wow, you're knowledgeable. Okay, what is number one thing not to do when you go to Japan? Number one thing not to do? You should not walk into someone's house with your shoes on. Or you should not walk out of the toilet with the toilet slippers on.
It's funny, like people always ask me, like, what's your advice? And I really think about it. Some of it is some of the most mundane stuff in the world, but it's like, buy new socks. Because people are going to be seeing them a lot more than you're used to.
Right. Yeah.
When I got here, like all of my socks are in the shittiest of condition.
Right, no.
And I didn't care because no one ever saw them.
Right, no, absolutely,
but now I have like really nice socks.
Yeah.
And like people give me socks for Christmas. I'm so excited.
That's
I'm
good.
Like, oh, sweet.
Yes. Are the younger kids is stick to? Yeah, everyone's obsessed with their cell phones. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there are toilet slippers. Yes, they are. Did you have anything cruising on? I don't know. That most embarrassing moment that happened to either of you? I think I walked out of the toilet with toilet slippers on. And people said, no, you can't do that. And like I turn around, take them off, and come back and put on my regular slippers.
I was eating edamame whole at a party, like the first week I got here. I got invited to a house party.
Okay.
That edamame soybeans, and I was eating the entire thing, shell and all. And I'm like, these are like the worst... snow peas I've ever had in my life.
You didn't get it. Okay.
Someone had to point out, like, you don't actually eat the whole thing.
Right.
Just the inside.
Right. Don't push bowls across the table with chopsticks. Yes. And then do not.
Like in the back of all those guidebooks, they have these like rules of etiquette.
Yeah.
Like, don't put the chopsticks in the right. So they use the other side chopsticks.
Go to about.com and type in Japanese traditions or Japanese culture, and it will answer all your questions.
Yeah, but I don't think most people actually do. Most Japanese people don't actually do the traditions that we foreigners always like say. Oh, it'll offend people if you wipe your face with the oshibori. You're not going to offend them.
Okay, they're not.
Like, it's not like this is not Edo period Japan. You're not going to get your head cut off because like you wipe some sweat off with a towel.
But that's true. That's true.
It's like take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
But in context, if you're in in a very polite situation, a business meeting or something like that, no. But if you're at like a beef bowl restaurant, no one cares what you do with your chopsticks.
Exactly.
But if you're at someone's house, like you're meeting your fiance's parents for the first time, you might want to like brush up on the rules of etiquette.
Yeah, that's a good
But you're
good
in
advice.
Yoshinoya, nobody gives a shit.
He's right. Okay, now I have to go.
He has to run. Sorry.
And I really appreciate. Well, should I, or I'll hand it over to you, or
no? Not at all.
I just want to thank people for checking in, and I think my book has value because I lived the experience, and that's why I think it has value. Okay. And if you really want to come here and freelance, check out the book.
Okay, quickly, I just want to wrap this up.
Go ahead.
Quick message, wrap it up. Any last advice or any words of wisdom you have for people coming to Japan or looking to work in Japan as a freelancer?
Read my book.
What is the name of the book again?
Freelancing in Tokyo.
How can they find it?
Freelancing in Tokyo is available on Amazon.com. Currently just in America, but you can also go to my website. There are other places you can purchase it.
And it's just freelancing in Tokyo, spaces.com.
Right, that's it. Got it.
Thank you, David, for coming by and talking with us.
It was wonderful.
The Cooney bump is going to sell you a whole ton of books, I'm sure.
And you'll be treated to a very fine dinner once I get that bump. Once I've been bumped.
Well, I do love Yoshinoya.
Well, that's where we'll go.
So anyway, thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for the questions. Thank you guys for stopping by and joining us. See you again next week. I believe my guest next week will be Ai Sherry, a singer-songwriter.
Oh.
Very attractive. So I imagine the number of people who will watch next week will be much higher than the two of us.
Yeah, well, I'll be, tuning in. Arigatou gozaimasu. Do itashimashite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Later.
Okay, bye.
We're actually still here
Okay.
for the video.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But I'm going to stay online.
Okay. I'm going to. All right. Now I need to get to the west exit. This was a blast. Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
No problem at all. It's fun. You know?
It was fun. It was really fun. And you're funny and entertaining. And I hope I didn't cut you off too much. I was just trying to answer as many questions as
No,
I could.
actually, it was also that's the highest percentage of questions that's ever been answered on the show.
Is that right?
Because usually we just end up like talking and just completely ignoring
going off on tangents. Well, yeah, but this is like really something specific, so I felt like I had to
Exactly, and actually it was good because I get that question a lot about freelancing, or can I do anything but English teaching? You know?
Oh, yeah.
And I hold a very solid line of like suck it up and do it. You know, contact Geos or Berlitz.
Oh, in the beginning.
You know, but in the beginning,
Yeah.
But it's good to hear that there are other opportunities, and also a place you can get more information about.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wrote it, because I didn't want people to feel like they were trapped.
Exactly.
You know.
And personally, I could never write that book. I just wouldn't have the mental energy.
It required a lot.
I think I know a lot of the information, but just to
put it down.
I
know.
Just,
it was hellish, but it's done now.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, because I can think of a couple of guys who have the knowledge to do it, but that actually will to do it.
That's
to write the book.
I don't know. I must have been nuts.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's done. So okay, I need to get to the west exit of this station, and I don't even.
Do you have a Suica?
Yes, I do.
I sometimes just go in.
And then say I made a mistake.
And then they're saying, go out the other side.
Oh, okay.
So the benefit of being a foreigner.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. I wanted to get on the Oedo line.
Yeah, I've done
that too.
I've done that too.
Fastest way across Shinjuku.
Yeah. Now, this is, okay, so this is a live chat, so it's whatever, I mean, that's not recorded, right? I mean, we can't, right, okay, right.
Unless I specifically...
I see. It was great fun, and it's wonderful that you're doing this, but what's even more wonderful is that people are, connecting with you and have a strong interest in it. So, that's wonderful. Okay.
Good luck, dude.
Thank you. I'll get out of your hair, and I'm going to...
Everybody say goodbye.
I'm off to the next adventure. Hey, people, have a great day or night wherever you are in the world, and see you when you get to Tokyo.
Yeah.
Okay, take care. All right, bye.
All right. So that was Dave. It's pretty confusing now, because now they're in the blog TV universe. There are two Daves. Actually, I'll call him David. The other Dave, and they're both hairless as moles. Both of them have no hair, so I can't say bald Dave because both of them are bald. So I guess he could be older Dave. Actually, my friend Dave has a joke about that. Okay, hold on one second. I have to refresh the video player. I'll be back in a second, so hold on, okay?